Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have to discuss the fact that James Gunn's Batman by James Gunn is now supposedly, or quite possibly, years away. That's right, years away in the making before we get whatever version of the Brave and the Bold that they're wanting to tell us. That I'm telling you right now, a lot of people just plain won't be interested in. And of course, we may see the Pattinson Batman back, Bat-Pat, but I'm not really convinced that that's going to do all that well either. It's a big problem for DC in an era where James Gunn was supposed to revolutionize what Warner Brothers had. Well, I'd say DC's in trouble, but let's see what you see after this video. Here we go. Now, before we get started, just a real quick reminder, I'm trying to get to 50K. We're closing in on it now, and it's all because of you and your efforts, so thank you. I've appreciated all the super thanks, the thumbs up, all the comments. Oh my gosh, we're having great conversations these days. But we need to talk about the theater business from a different aspect, not just about the box office, but just what makes it to theaters, or if things actually will. And that's the problem with this film. James Gunn's DCU Batman now said to be years away. If it happens, that's not a positive sign. Now, this is from our friends over at Cosmic Book News. In fact, Matt McGloin wrote this one himself, so it is likely pretty credible, and I'm looking forward to reviewing it. So, here we go. The status of James Gunn's DCU Batman is once again in question, and this time it's said to be not happening for years, if ever. That's not a good sign. Update, Daniel RPK is stating he didn't say James Gunn won't introduce DCU's Batman until Matt Reeves finished with his trilogy, but hasn't expanded upon what he did say, if anything. Well, it's here, if you look at the tweet. James Gunn won't introduce DCU's Batman until Matt Reeves is finished with Trilogy. Huh? No, that's not what I said. Okay, I'm very, very confused. And we're going to go back to the original version of this article, which follows below where we've just finished, to try to figure out what it is that he actually said, which isn't what he said. This is confusing. So from the original article that was written, obviously a little while ago before we got the update, is according to Scooper Daniel RPK, the Brave and the Bold isn't coming anytime soon. He claims Gunn is pushing to fast-track Matt Reeves' Batman 3 instead, so he doesn't want two Batmans, which makes sense. I mean, you really don't need two Batmans, and after a very successful Penguin show, I think you're going to want to push more DC Universe that's in that arena for Matt Reeves and for Bat-Pat. I mean, it worked out well, didn't it? So by not having two Batmans run at the same time, the trilogy is basically going to wrap up, and then the studio can move forward. That lines up with the ongoing confusion about how the DCU Batman will coexist alongside Reeves' separate universe starring Robert Pattinson. It also lines up with the claims Gunn wanted Pattinson as DCU Batman, if he should then be able to develop his Batman side by side. Well, that's not happening. And that's probably a good thing. I can't see an upside here. I don't know about you. If you can see an upside, let me know in the comments section below. And while you're down there, hit the thumbs up button and, double check you're still subscribed. Oh, and hit the little red subscribe button. If you're not, turn it gray, and then hit the bell icon and turn on all those notifications. But back to the story, we have The Brave and the Bold reportedly delayed for years. So The Brave and the Bold was originally announced as part of Gunn's DCU Chapter 1 slate. I remember that. The film is expected to introduce the DCU's Batman and his son Damian Wayne as Robin, which, I don't know. Should we be excited about that? Kind of worried they're going to screw up Robin, but maybe that's just me. However, if Daniel RPK's information is accurate, there's the question, right? Fans shouldn't expect it anytime soon. Now, Daniel RPK has been getting a lot of things right. He's a pretty decent scooper. So should we be worried about this information, especially with his clearing things up? I don't know. Instead, it's claimed the focus appears to be on finishing Reeves' saga, which began with The Batman. Well, Gunn reportedly wants the trilogy completed before launching a separate DCU Batman, avoiding audience confusion and franchise overlap, which again would take years. And it truly would. If you want to have an actual Batman movie, you can't have Bat Pat out there to compete. You shouldn't have Bat Pat out there anyway, but that's just me. That film got a lot more praise than I was willing to give it, and it was given praise by people that I tend to agree with, and I just don't. Everything DCU dropped this tweet saying Daniel RPK on Discord said, "Oh, I'm told Brave and the Bold is not coming for years. Gunn is pushing to get the Batman 3 out faster. He wants the trilogy over. He wants to move on. He doesn't want two Batmans." Okay, so what's vague about that? Perhaps it was just in Discord, something he didn't realize somebody would immediately take public. Probably, but that's wild. And Gunn's future at DC Studios, tied to Warner Brothers' slate, is definitely expected. As a matter of fact, I kind of feel like if Warner Brothers ends up over at Paramount, Gunn may be out anyway. We've talked about that in previous videos. I don't know about you. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section below as well. But beyond scheduling issues, there are bigger things in play. Yeah, we don't know what's happening with Warner Brothers. We've been told that with the sale of Warner Brothers, James Gunn will be out as head of DC Studios, which, as I said before, we've reported on here. In fact, you can probably find that video up there if you want to go back and review the news. But it explains why Gunn is currently developing the Superman Family Saga projects, just to kind of stick everything together and maybe build up the expectations for Superman, which, let me tell you, with the first film, he set a very low bar. Upcoming projects in development only include Man of Tomorrow and the Jimmy Olsen TV series, and nobody really honestly asked for that because I think that's funny Matt asked that question. Meanwhile, everything else appears to be in limbo, including Wonder Woman, dependent on who ultimately takes control of Warner Brothers Discovery. Lanterns and the HBO factor are definitely a part of the conversation. Lanterns is moving forward. It's already in the works. But it's our understanding it's essentially an HBO series. It's only 8 episodes, and boy, are we not getting tired of those. Of course we are. We want full seasons of things. The HBO model is lazy and frustrating. 8 episodes a year or more between seasons. That's disappointing. And fans like me get angry. I remember getting a half-hour TV show or even an hour-long episode in 24-episode seasons. Why can't we get back to that? What's stopping you from doing that, gentlemen? What's stopping you from looking like that? Anyway, it further fuels the speculation that Gunn's broader DCU film slate may be stalled until new ownership questions are resolved. And you know what? I agree. You got to ask yourself, is anybody taking this studio over going to want to be married to this guy? There was a reason he didn't want to take over as the leader of a new DC Studios unless he got to bring his pal, Mr. Safran, along with him. And the two of them together really haven't produced, amazing results, at least not as far as I'm concerned. And rumor has it that Pam Abdi and Michael DeLuca are really kind of leading things at this point, regardless of what people's titles are. The concerns over DCU Batman tone, well, there's internal concern, according to what we've been told about how Gunn would handle Batman inside the DCU. Well, yeah, there's stuff to worry about. Batman remains DC's biggest IP, always has been. The fear is that The Dark Knight could take on the same quirky, comedic, goofy tone seen in some of Gunn's previous projects. And I'll tell you what, that just isn't going to work for most fans, especially if you talk to somebody like Chris Gore. I mean, unless you're going to do a comic book humor kind of thing, which is how the first Batman 89, worked out. But I don't think that's where they go here. I think they go back to Marvel humor, Josh Whedon style writing, and give us something that maybe, just maybe, is not what anybody wants. But for fans and executives alike, Batman isn't a character you turn into a punchline. It just doesn't work well, especially when you look at Nolan's Batman. With The Brave and the Bold meant to feature Damian Wayne, the tone will be everything. And a misstep with Batman would have major consequences for the entire DCU. Regardless of any of that, and as the article continues on into discussions around Warner Brothers Discovery and the new owners resetting everything, I wouldn't put it past anybody. Paramount would have the opportunity to have the pick of the litter as far as directors and showrunners and creators that they could choose to run all of these various projects that they would now have at their fingertips. Can you imagine a Superman and a quality Star Trek movie coming out the same year? I can. And from a studio that's actually investing in it, wants some quality, maybe dabbling a little in AI, which I think everybody's going to be using here in the next couple of years. But I think the future is brighter if ownership is different. Because let me tell you, Zaslav has not impressed me. Has he impressed you? I don't know. Regardless, at the end of the day, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Do you think that Batman could be kicked to the curb, at least temporarily, and delayed so that we can get Bat-Pat out for all three of his films? Do you think that quite possibly we could be looking at a complete reset of DC once again inside of a time period that I think might be a little bit upsetting for some fans? And finally, do you think it's even possible, as some have suggested, that Zack Snyder could return? Kind of like Palpatine. Anyway, so with those thoughts, let me know yours in the comments section below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya. Just hopefully watching a better Batman, please.